74 seats. Not 800, not 200, 74. The Oscars ceremony seats 3,000 people in one room. Buckingham Palace has 175 rooms, and thousands of guests walk through its doors every year at royal receptions. But here, 74 chairs, dark green, wicker, sitting in the same spot for over 100 years. And in those chairs, Roger Federer, Leonardo DiCaprio, David Beckham, Olivia Rodrigo. People who can get into anything, and they come here specifically because this is the one place you cannot buy your way into. You cannot negotiate. You cannot call the right person. You get invited. Or you don't. And here's the thing. There is one person who hasn't been invited for 6 years straight. He is a prince by blood. He was born in this country. He sat in that royal box. I'll show you exactly where and when. And from where he's staying right now, Wimbledon is 90 minutes away. But his name is not on the list, and hasn't been, since 2019. Today we're going to break down exactly how this list works, and why his absence from it speaks louder than anything the royal family has ever said out loud. Because the royal family never declares war publicly. No press conferences. No official statements. No formal announcements with seals and signatures. There is a list of 74 names, and one name is not on it. That is their answer. But let's start at the beginning, because to understand what it means to be removed from this list, you first need to understand what the list actually is, and who controls it. Officially, the invitation comes from the chairman of the All England Club. That's the organization that owns Wimbledon and runs the tournament. The current chair is Debbie Jevons, a former professional player who took the role in 2023. She sends the invitations. Her name is on the envelope. But here's where it gets interesting. The All England Club doesn't operate in a vacuum. The invitation list is shaped by suggestions from members of the championship's organizing committee, the Lawn Tennis Association, and this is the part nobody really talks about, the wider establishment network that surrounds the tournament. And at the center of that network sits one person. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is the patron of the All England Club. She has been attending Wimbledon since she was a teenager. She presents the trophy on finals day. She sits in the royal box not as a guest, but as the closest thing to a host that the box has. William comes to the finals. The children come. It is, in every meaningful sense, their house. And nobody sends an invitation that their house would find uncomfortable. Not because there's a rule written down anywhere. There doesn't need to be. That's not how power works in institutions like this. Power in places like the All England Club works through what everyone already understands without being told. And everyone understands that Harry is not getting an invite. Think about what it takes to actually be in that box. You don't apply. You don't submit a request. The committee considers people across a very specific set of categories: British and foreign royalty, politicians, celebrities from film and sport and music, military figures, media leaders, business names. The guest list is constructed to reflect a particular image of Britain, of its culture, its relationships, its values. And for 6 years, the image of Britain that Wimbledon has chosen to project does not include Prince Harry. That's not an accident. Lists this curated don't have accidents. Olivia Rodrigo got a seat. Paul Mescal got a seat. Nicole Kidman got a seat. A 20-year-old pop star from Los Angeles gets a seat in the royal box at Wimbledon before a British-born prince. Let that sit for a second. Because it's not about whether Harry deserves to be there or not. That's not the point. The point is that the decision to leave him out has been made, confirmed, and repeated every single summer for 6 years. Every year, someone sits down with that list, sees that his name isn't on it, and does not add it. That's not an oversight. That's a choice. Made deliberately, made annually, made in silence. And silence, when it comes from institutions like this, is its own kind of statement. If you're finding this interesting, and I think you will find the next part even more so, hit subscribe now, because we're about to go back to the last time Harry actually sat in that box. And the photo from that day that, looking back, feels like the last frame of a film before everything changes. There's a photograph from 2018. 4 people, 1 bench, center court. William and Catherine on the left, Harry and Meghan on the right. All 4 of them laughing. Genuinely laughing, Not the polished, diplomatic smile you see in official portraits. Just four people watching tennis on a summer afternoon. That photo went around the world, and if you didn't know what happened next, you'd look at it and think, this is what the royal family looks like. Young, relaxed, together, fine. But we do know what happened next, and that's what makes it so hard to look at. Let's go back to the beginning of Harry's Wimbledon story, because it didn't start with that bench. 2016, Harry attends Wimbledon, quietly, almost under the radar. He'd been seen with Meghan by this point, but nothing was confirmed publicly. He was there as himself, as a prince who loves sport, as someone who'd grown up watching this tournament his whole life. Wimbledon was never just a public engagement for him. It was personal. It was part of his summer. 2017, he's back. Meghan is now publicly his girlfriend. They're not sitting together officially, but the cameras find them anyway. The interest is enormous. The press can't get enough. And then 2018, they're married. Meghan is now the Duchess of Sussex. And for the first time, they sit together in the royal box as a couple, right next to William and Catherine. That bench, that photo, that laugh. It was the last time all four of them sat together like that anywhere in public. Think about what that image represented in that moment. The press had spent months speculating about tension between the two couples, about Meghan not fitting in, about rifts and disagreements behind palace walls. And then here they were, together, publicly, laughing. It felt like a rebuttal, like the family was saying, "We're fine, you're all wrong, look at us." Except they weren't fine. And the photo, in hindsight, was less a rebuttal and more a last frame. Because the following year, 2019, Harry and Meghan made a specific request. They asked Wimbledon to restrict media access to Meghan during her attendance. Fewer cameras, more privacy. The All England Club pushed back. The relationship with the press was part of the arrangement. It didn't go well. Harry did not appear in the royal box in 2019. And then 2020, no tournament. The world shut down. Wimbledon was cancelled for the first time since World War II. 2021, Wimbledon returned. The royal box filled up again. William and Catherine were there. Harry and Meghan were not. By this point, they had stepped back from royal duties, moved to California, and sat down with Oprah. The interview aired in March of that year. By July, the gap between Harry and the institution had become something else entirely. 2022. The Platinum Jubilee happened in June. Harry and Meghan came to London for it, briefly, carefully, in a way that felt more like a visit than a homecoming. They were not on the Buckingham Palace balcony for the main event. Wimbledon came a few weeks later. Harry was not in the royal box. 2023. Spare was published. Everything that had been rumored or speculated about for years was now in print, in Harry's own words, in extraordinary detail. He wrote about William, about Catherine, about his father, about things that you simply do not write about when you are a member of the royal family and expect to come back from. That summer, Wimbledon happened. Harry was not in the royal box. 2024. A year of grief and health crises for the royal family. The king's cancer diagnosis, Catherine's own diagnosis and long recovery. Harry flew to London when the king's health deteriorated. The visit was brief. There were no joint appearances, no photographs of the brothers together. That summer, Wimbledon happened. Harry was not in the royal box. 2025. Another year, another tournament, another list of 74 names that did not include his. 6 summers, 6 lists, one name missing every single time. And here's what I want you to think about. Every time there's a moment, a funeral, a health scare, a jubilee, a birth, commentators ask the same question. Is this the moment of reconciliation? Is this when the family comes back together? And every summer, Wimbledon gives you the answer, not in words, in a list. You want to know where the royal family stands with Harry right now? Don't wait for a statement. Don't look for a quote. Look at the royal box in the second week of July. Count the faces. See whose name isn't there. They've been answering that question every single year. Most people just haven't been listening to the right language. And if you've made it this far, drop a comment below and tell me, do you think this ever gets resolved? Because I genuinely don't know. And I want to know what you think. The answer the royal box gives every year is clear enough, but 2026 is different, and that's what we're getting into right now. Here's what makes 2026 different from every year before it. In previous years, when Wimbledon came around and Harry's name wasn't on the list, he was in California. He was far away. He was, in the most literal sense, not here. It was easy to frame the absence as distance, as a lifestyle choice, as someone who left and therefore simply isn't part of the summer schedule anymore. This year, that framing doesn't hold, because Harry is in the UK. He's here, in this country, within the same city, within the same few miles of grass and strawberries and dark green wicker chairs that his family has been coming to every summer for decades. And his children are with him, Archie and Lilibet, who have grown up almost entirely in California, who have spent the majority of their lives at a careful, managed distance from the rest of the royal family, are here too. Now think about what's happening simultaneously, a few kilometers away. George, Charlotte, and Louis will be in the royal box. They'll be dressed impeccably, sitting in those dark green chairs, watching the best tennis players in the world compete on the most famous court in the sport. They'll be photographed. Those photos will go everywhere. And somewhere in London, or on a screen in California if Harry has already left by then, their cousins will watch it happen. Not because of geography. Geography is solved. 90 minutes in a car and the cousins are in the same room. But geography was never the problem. The problem is that someone decided this is how it is. And that decision gets renewed every summer, quietly, without announcement, through the simple act of writing a list and leaving one name off it. The children didn't make that decision. They're not old enough to have a position on any of this. George is 12. Charlotte is 11. Louis is 8. Archie is 7. Lilibet is 5. 5 years old. And the adults in their lives have organized the world in such a way that these kids, who are cousins, who share grandparents and great-grandparents, and the same unusual weight of being born into one of the most scrutinized families on earth, these kids exist in parallel. Close enough to see each other, arranged so that they don't. I'm not telling you who is right and who is wrong. I genuinely don't think that's the interesting question here. The interesting question is, what does it cost? What does it cost to maintain a silence this disciplined, this consistent, across 6 years and counting? Because it does cost something. Lists that are this deliberate don't come free. Every year someone has to look at Harry's name and make the active choice not to include it. Every year the institution has to hold that position. Every year the silence has to be renewed, the way you renew a subscription, except this one costs something more than money. And here's the part that I think gets lost in the noise of the drama and the headlines and the competing narratives. The royal box is not really about tennis. It never was. It is an annual, public, photographed declaration of who belongs, who is recognized, whose place in the family and in the establishment is confirmed and visible and real. When you sit in those 74 seats, you are not just watching Wimbledon. You are being seen. You are being placed. You are being told, and telling everyone watching, that you are in. And when you are not there, when your name is not on that list, year after year after year, while your brother sits in the front row and your nieces and nephews are photographed in the summer light, you are being told something else. Not loudly. Never loudly. That's not how this works. Just a list. 74 names. And one that isn't there. That's it. That's the whole statement. That's 6 years of institutional silence compressed into a single document that gets revised every summer and never, not once, has included the name Prince Harry. On finals day, Catherine will walk onto center court and present the trophy. The crowd will rise. The cameras will pan across the royal box, 74 faces, impeccably dressed, applauding. It will be beautiful. It always is. And somewhere, Harry will watch it the same way you and I watch it. On a screen, from outside. Like everyone else. That image, the box full, the trophy raised, the family together, the one face missing, that is the clearest answer the royal family has given to any question anyone has asked about reconciliation in 6 years. They didn't call a press conference to give it. They didn't issue a statement. They just wrote a list and left one name off. If this video made you think, share it with someone who follows the royal family, Because most people are looking for the reconciliation story in interviews and documentaries and palace sources. It's been sitting in a Wimbledon seating chart this whole time.